At 6, a final farewell to Robert Sharkovich Sr. I'm Kaylee Collins in Wethersfield with the details on his funeral services coming up.
Well, firefighters and crews from across New England are still battling the Hawthorne Fire from the air and on the ground. We'll have an update on their operations and what fire crews want all of you to keep in mind as they continue their fight.
The battle for the White House is entering the home stretch. Harris met with voters in Pennsylvania and Trump sounding off in New York. Their messages are next.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
6 o'clock on this Monday. Good morning, sunshine. Thank you for waking up with us here on Fox 61 and Fox 61 Plus. I'm Symphony Privet.
And I'm Tim Lammers. Good morning to you. We're going to start with the forecast here so you can get your Monday started as we get over to meteorologist Rachel Piscatelli. A nice weekend. A little more seasonal in terms of the temperatures. Yes. It was chilly at times.
It was. But when that sun was out, man, did it feel nice out there. The sun beating down on you. It was great. And so we will see another nice day today. Unfortunately, we don't have any, and I'm saying unfortunately because we need the rain and we don't have any significant rain within the next 7 days, although there is opportunities for it over the coming days. 39 degrees right now in New Haven with temperatures around with mostly clear skies. We are cooler than this time yesterday, anywhere from 3 to 11 degrees cooler. So cool conditions out there now. We're around 31 degrees over in Willimantic. It's 32 in Torrington. So some areas will be dealing with some patchy frost, so you might want to start your car early. In terms of our wind speeds, they're generally going to be around 5 to about 15 miles per hour out of the north today. So starting your day today in the 30s now into the 50s later on, around 56 degrees under a partly cloudy sky. 57 in Hartford. If you liked yesterday's feel, you'll certainly like today as well. Grabbing those sunglasses too, you'll need it. Then for tomorrow, we're going to build in a bit more in the way of cloud coverage. There is a chance for maybe a stray shower Tuesday night into Wednesday around 11 o'clock, midnight. There could be a brief shower chance. That is associated with the warm front. That warm front moves through, and noticing what it does to the temperatures. By Wednesday afternoon, we're in the 70s, and we are only going to get warmer from there. We'll talk about Halloween's forecast or trick-or-treating plans coming up in just a bit. 6:02 on the road, Symphony. Good morning.
All right. Thank you, Rachel. Let's check out how the morning commute is shaping up. So far, it has been a pretty smooth commute. We're not seeing any major incidents here. Taking a quick look at our Hartford drive time, should be smooth sailing for you on 91 heading down to the 84 interchange, and the commute along 84 East heading toward the Hartford Tunnel, moving at 62 miles per hour. We'll have your next update in just a few minutes.
Well, fallen Weatherfield firefighter Robert Sharkovich Sr. will be laid to rest later this morning. He died while trying to help fight the Hawthorne Fire.
And we'll have live coverage this morning as his body is escorted from Wethersfield to a church here in Hartford. This morning, let's check in with Kaylee Collins, who's joining us live at the Farley Sullivan Funeral Home in Wethersfield this morning. Good morning, Kaylee.
Good morning, Symphony and Tim. Yeah, people packed the funeral home here yesterday for the visitation hours of Sharkovich, and it's expected to be a very similar scene today as loved ones gather to say their final goodbyes to their friend. Now, it was a packed house here yesterday, as I mentioned, a line out the door decorated with American flags and surrounded by fire trucks as friends and family gathered. From here, Sharkovich will depart to St. Joseph's Cathedral in Hartford, where funeral services will begin at 11 this morning. There will be a procession along the way. From Beaver Street, the procession will head toward Route 15 North, continue on to 91, and then to 84 toward Hartford, ending on Farmington Avenue, where the church is located. An anticipated large crowd is a testament to a life well lived and loved.
So we're a tight-knit family. It's definitely felt throughout the surrounding towns. It's not, just a Wethersfield thing or a Berlin thing or Newington, whether any of these. We're a family, and it affects everybody here.
Now, Sharkovich, known affectionately as Sharky, was a retired Hartford firefighter and also a volunteer with Wethersfield. On top of being a devoted firefighter, Sharkovich is being remembered as a beloved father, grandfather, and friend. He also worked as a carpenter and has been described by many as a hardworking, compassionate man who loved to help others. And the lives that Sharkovich touched is evident in just how many people came out to say pay their final respects yesterday and who are expected to attend as well today. Again, we'll have live team coverage of the procession and the funeral services starting later this morning. For now, live in Wethersfield, Kaylee Collins, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Alrighty, thank you, Kaylee. We'll check back in with you later on this morning. Now, again, the Mass of Christian Burial will be said at 11 o'clock this morning, Tim, at the Cathedral of St. Joseph on Farmington Avenue here in Hartford.
And there's going to be a burial after that. That's going to happen at Rose Hill Memorial Park in Rocky Hill. Now, Wethersfield schools are closed today just to give everybody in town the opportunity to mourn and to pay their respects. So keep in mind, you should also expect some road closures and heavy traffic. The Silas Dean Highway in Wethersfield will be closed from the Hartford City line down to Wells Road starting at 10 a.m. today. Officials say those closures should last about an hour, but several roads will also be closed for the return of the funeral procession at around 12:30 this afternoon. That includes Ridge Road from the Hartford City line down to Prospect Street, Griswold Road at Prospect Street, Griswold Road at Maple Street, and Maple Street at Gilbert Avenue in Rocky Hill. Wethersfield police said they expect those roads to be shut down until about 2 o'clock. Fox 61 will have live coverage of that procession to the cathedral beginning at 10 o'clock this morning, and then the funeral, which is scheduled to start at 11. You can watch it right here on Fox 61 and stream it on the go on Fox 61 Plus.
The Hawthorne Fire on Lamentation Mountain in Berlin has burned more than 120 acres. We learned on Friday the fire was caused by a reignited campfire nearly a week ago. Since then, officials say helicopters have dropped more than 223 buckets of water on the fire. Over the weekend, 2 firefighters were hurt in minor accidents. This is the first time we've heard about firefighters getting hurt in the fire since Weatherfield firefighter Robert Sharkovich Sr. died last week.
We had 2 accidents reported on the mountain. They were minor in nature. Both firefighters were transported to the hospital and later released after evaluation. Those were related to slip and fall type incidents. You know, it just goes to show how dangerous it is to be out there in the woods and on that terrain. And it also emphasizes that we need to have the public's continued support in helping us by not burning in their yards, by obeying the statewide ban in parks and on public grounds, and just being really careful in general about ignition sources.
Governor Ned Lamont declared a state of emergency to bring in more resources. Officials say this is the worst fire season they've seen recently due to the lack of rain. Firefighters in Southbury worked Saturday afternoon to put out this car fire on Bullet Hill Road. Luckily, no one was hurt. Crews say it was just one of 8 calls they responded to in Southbury over the weekend. 6:08 now. The Manchester Road Race is 31 days away. It'll be here before we know it.
Yeah.
Well, this morning we know a big name will once again run in the annual race.
And she tends to finish before you know it. She's that fast. Olympian Wayne Kaladi is going to come and run and try to win the road race for a 4th straight year. The 27-year-old holds the women's course record, one that she shattered the first time she won, 22 minutes and 55 seconds. That happened in 2021. Kaladi has also logged the 2nd and 3rd fastest times ever recorded by a female competitor. Last year, while winning the women's race, she finished 19th overall. So she almost beat all the men, too. And if she wins again this Thanksgiving, she'll be the first woman to win 4 times in a row. As of this morning, 6,863 people have registered to run the road race. Between now and November 23rd, it costs $37 to register. After that, though, the price goes up to $42. And, of course, Fox 61 will air the race 10 a.m. It starts at 10 a.m. sharp to the 2nd on Thanksgiving morning, but of course we'll be broadcasting well before then. We got a full rundown of all the Manchester road races, including Wayne Kaladi's remarkable performances over the year. You can watch those right now to get psyched up. It's on fox61.com and on our free news app. Okay, on to politics here at 6:09 on this Monday morning. Today will mark 1 full week since the first in-person early votes were cast in Connecticut.
Yeah, this morning, Secretary of the State Stephanie Thomas is expected to give an update on how the process is going so far. The polls will open once again at 10 this morning and close at 6 p.m. Every town will have at least 1 early voting location. President Biden is expected to cast his ballot today during early voting in Delaware. This is video of him voting 2 years ago. The president has endorsed Kamala Harris for president. And the race for president enters the home stretch this week as candidates try to sway the last undecided voters. Vice President Harris speaking with voters yesterday at a barbershop and restaurant in Philadelphia. She also hosted a rally urging people to get out and vote.
Now, here's the thing I love about you young leaders. You know, you are rightly impatient for change. You are rightly impatient. You who have only known the climate crisis, you are leaders in what we need to do to protect our planet.
Vice President Harris also encouraged people to talk with their neighbors and build up their community.
Well, former President Donald Trump was also on the campaign trail, this time in New York City, where he hosted a rally Sunday at Madison Square Garden. Trump once again criticized Vice President Harris for failing to secure the nation's southern border during her time in office. And in an effort to win over older and blue-collar workers, Trump announced a new proposal for American families should he be elected.
And I'm announcing a new policy today that I will support a tax credit for family caregivers who take care of a parent or a loved one. It's about time that they were recognized, right?
And keep in mind, this is coming as Vice President Harris has already proposed federal funding to cover home care costs for older Americans. And once again, like he did in California, here Trump held a rally in a state he's roundly expected to lose, as most New York state polls have Harris up 15 to 20 percentage points. New York hasn't voted for a Republican candidate for president now in 40 years.